Amrabat will unlock Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro to score more goals. Manchester United have been crying out for a holding midfielder of Amrabat's quality, a player that can drop deep and get on the ball and control the tempo with short and long passes, but also carrying the ball through midfield. Manchester United have struggled to score goals this season. I think one of the big reasons why is because Bruno Fernandes has been limited. In a lot of games this season, Bruno has started as a number 10 because of United's poor progression in terms of playing through the lines. He's had to drop deep to get on the ball, which has limited his goal-scoring prowess, which has meant he's been playing the progressive passes and not getting on the end of them in behind the opposition's defence or in the final third. With Amrabat signing for Manchester United and coming into the first team, it's going to make a massive impact. Not only will it unlock Bruno Fernandes to be able to play higher up the pitch, knowing that he won't need to drop deep to progress the play, but also allow Casemiro to play more of a box-to-box role. Welcome to box-to-box Miro. I think when you look at Casemiro's skill set in this Manchester United team, further up the pitch for me is a better place for him. Manchester United under Erik ten Hag require a defensive midfielder that is very, very comfortable on the ball, someone like Amrabat, whereas Casemiro would really fit in Manchester United's team at the moment as an 8, as a player that's going to get involved in the final third and look to score goals and create for his teammates. In fact, only Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes have been directly involved in more goals since Casemiro moved from Real Madrid to Manchester United. Freeing Casemiro in the final third will only mean more goals for Manchester United, but it's Amrabat's positioning and his ability to dictate the play that will allow Bruno and Casemiro to score more goals. Let's take a look at Bruno Fernandes as an example right now. Imagine Manchester United building with their fullbacks in a slightly higher position, Amrabat maybe dropping in between the centre-backs and Casemiro sitting in this number 8 position. Again, as Manchester United progress to play, either Diogo Dalot could take up the inverted position or Casemiro could join that offensive line. One of the reasons why I believe Amrabat will unlock Bruno Fernandes is that he can be higher up the pitch. He can use his great movement in behind the opposition's defence to score goals. He did that to great effect against Burnley. Manchester United lined up in a 4-2-3-1 against Burnley with Bruno Fernandes on the right and Hannibal at number 10. But more importantly for Manchester United, one of the big criticisms of them this season, there's been not enough runs in behind the opponent's backline. In terms of where the Premier League's going, we see a lot of teams that press high, that play a super high line. What you need to do against these teams, of course, is occasionally play that direct ball. Not only to look for opportunities for players like Bruno Fernandes and Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford to get behind the opponent's defence, but to open up the space in between the opponent's midfield and defensive line to progress the play through, play in between the lines and create chances from those positions. I think with Manchester United and playing Bruno higher with a true holding midfielder, we'll only see more movement from Bruno Fernandes in those areas, and it's a place where he really excels. And I feel United have not done that really since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United. The first 2 seasons that Bruno Fernandes was at Old Trafford, he received 7 or more progressive passes per 90. He's never got to those numbers after those first 2 years. Again, he played half a season the first year and scored 8 goals. The second season, he scored 18 goals, but he was in better goal-scoring positions. And United need to get Bruno into those areas so he can score more goals. So take a look at Manchester United's winner against Burnley, and we start to see this kind of possession game that we're speaking about, opening up the opposition with runs in behind the defence and then killing them with a brilliant ball from Jonny Evans. So we can clearly see United's build structure against Burnley, a back 3 made up of Diogo Dalot, Victor Lindelof and Jonny Evans, again interchangeable whether the ball's on the right side or the left side on the pitch. Casemiro sitting in a bit of a number 8 position just in front of the defence. The thing I mentioned previously, I want this Victor Lindelof position to be taken up by Amrabat, him sitting in the middle of the back 3, pushing both fullbacks higher up the pitch and allowing United to build with the 2 centre-backs in the DM. Again, that's something that I think long-term would be great for United. Of course, Manchester United against kind of weaker opposition or teams that they feel that can expose them usually play a 3-1-6 formation with 6 attackers across the opponent's backline. So in terms of United, the big concepts that they want to do this season, they want to draw players onto them and then they want to look to maybe progress the play or look for those balls over the top of defenders. And they do that in this move really well. This is one of the best goals I think they've scored under Erik ten Hag. It's real good positional play and he uses lots of different principles principles. So Casemiro in possession, simply going to retain the ball back to Victor Lindelof. It's going to get rotated by around the back. What United are trying to do is kind of coax the Burnley midfield into pressing actions or pull the players up to then maybe either utilise the space in behind or open up that space for the ball over the top. The ball gets recycled around Manchester United's backline. Again, the similar concept, the 3-1 structure that we've seen them build with them multiple times. Rotated through to Victor Lindelof, who then plays it to Diogo Dalot after a carry, trying to draw in the Burnley centre forward. From this position, United haven't really done anything with the ball. They've just simply rotated it around the back. But the vertical side of United's game hasn't been good enough so far. But in this instance, it's absolutely fantastic. This is why Bruno Fernandes needs to be higher up the pitch. He's a player that's got great awareness to run in behind of the defence. And what we're starting to see a little bit more with Manchester United is that kind of sequential movement. One player dropping, the other one stretching the opposition with a movement in behind. Not only do we see Lindelof drive into midfield to create a bit of space for Dalot, but you can see at the top of the shot, Hannibal Mejbri dropping in, Bruno Fernandes going the other way, and of course Diogo Dalot clips the ball into the channel. Again, opening up the Burnley team. We see a really good bit of passing play, fantastic touch from Bruno Fernandes, who's behind the fullback. He's got the centre-back with him in the channel. But Bruno does the right thing in this situation. Every time you progress the play, you don't need to look for a direct attack. That's one of United's problems, is too many times they'll receive the ball and the attacker will just carry, will try and take someone on and will lose possession, or look for a pass that's just not on. What this move is that's really, really good, retains possession really well. Bruno with a good first touch, drives back inside, little pass to Mejbri, instantly inside to Victor Lindelof, who's supporting the attack. We then see another brilliant triangle of passing with Lindelof into the feet of Bruno Fernandes, back out to Diogo Dalot. From this position, you can see the disorganisation in the Burnley midfield. United have drawn, 6 players over to the left-hand side, which consequently will open up problems later on. The ball's recycled back to Diogo Dalot, looks into midfield again, trying to coax one of the Burnley central midfielders out of position. In terms of the next bit of play, we're going to focus on Bruno Fernandes. This is a big part of the play. Again, Manchester United building really, really calmly and confidently. I want to see more of this from Erik ten Hag's Manchester United. Lindelof into Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans assessing the play. From this moment, Bruno Fernandes is the key player. We can see him just there in between the lines. He's looking for a moment either to drop off or run in behind. Of course, Johnny Evans' first touch. Bruno Fernandes is very much switched on to the football, looking for any signs. And then Evans takes a next touch, which triggers Bruno Fernandes running in behind the defence. A great move as Højlund drops off the line. Again, we mentioned that movement. One drops off, one runs in behind, really causing Burnley's defensive line issues. A great ball from Johnny Evans over the top of the defence. Bruno Fernandes focused on the ball. A fantastic right-footed volley into the bottom corner to win the game for Manchester United. But that movement and that kind of composure to recycle the play was absolutely brilliant for United. And how they created that situation and the movement of Højlund dropping off, Bruno running in behind, Evans clipping the ball over the top and the finish across the keeper is absolutely fantastic and a great goal for United. But Bruno being higher up the pitch is going to be more goals. And even if you take it a little bit further, 3 minutes after United scored this goal, there was a very similar sort of passage of play, similar thing, building up with a back three, the ball being recycled through Lindelof, through Diogo Dalot, then worked to Johnny Evans, first time pass with his right foot, and just see how Bruno Fernandes at this moment, he's kind of relaxed, he's gone. Brilliant ball over the top once again from Johnny Evans, giving Manchester United a vertical option in behind the Burnley defence. He's there, squares it to Rasmus Højlund, and Højlund fires over. Of course, Bruno didn't quite time that run to perfection like he did the first one and was offside. But United doing that means teams can't play high lines. And again, you can see in this screenshot here how compact the Burnley team is. It's super high, it's compact, it's in a really good shape. Getting runners in behind defenders, it's so simple, but so important when playing top sides. And with Amrabat into the United team, United are only going to do those types of moves more. We mentioned before, Amrabat coming in, Diogo Dalot getting pushed higher up the pitch, Hannibal taking the inside right position, Bruno the inside left position, Casemiro sitting at the kind of number 8 base position. Again, our 6 has dropped into a half-back role, and then we can see more movement on the opponent's back line, but also in other parts of the game. Let's say if Diogo Dalot is in the build-up and Amrabat sitting in that 6th position, United again are building in that back three that we saw over and over again in those clips. We've got Amrabat at that defensive midfield position, which could push Casemiro again higher up the pitch to make those runs in behind the opponent's backline, which are only going to make Man United more potent. I think, you're looking at someone like Casemiro and his recent performances in central midfield have made me think a little bit differently about him. I think he's done some really good work in and around the opponent's box. Not only that, if you play Casemiro high, you're going to get him in a counter-pressing situation more frequently. He won 3 out of his 4 tackles against Burnley. No player on the pitch managed more. And thinking about Casemiro in recent games, he scored a brace in Bavaria against Bayern Munich, one from a set piece, but another one from getting into the penalty area and using an improvised finish after losing his feet in the box. I think one of the big things with Casemiro, he's got that awareness and got the quality. And you take that as a good example of that, but also his support play is fantastic on the counter-attack. And Marcus Rashford could have grabbed an assist if he got his head up and found Casemiro. So we pick up the play on 84 minutes. Man United in a defensive position. Of course, Hannibal Mejbri, really good awareness, intercepts a Burnley pass, and United are on the counter-attack. He gets his head up and then uses the outside of his boot to find Marcus Rashford into the channel. But make sure you're keeping your eye on Casemiro. If Amrabat can play defensive midfield for Man United and be that anchorman, be that halfback, Casemiro will have more freedom and license to join the attack like he does here. For me, Casemiro could easily score 10 goals in a league season. He's got that quality in the box, he's got the movement, and he's got that energy to get up and down. Box-to-box Miro is here. But let's quickly, before we kind of talk about Casemiro, great pass into the channel, but Marcus Rashford's decision-making needs a little bit of work. I think this season he's taking too many shots. He needs to start getting his head up and looking for passing opportunities. The goals will come, and I think he's a little bit maybe worried about not scoring as many goals as he did last season, whereas right now the creativity is needed for Manchester United, because from these positions where Rashford could go down the byline, he could cut inside, he could check and drive into the inside lane, he needs to make better decisions in the penalty area because teammates are in good supporting positions. We had last week with Højlund, this week with Casemiro. Rashford does really well to drive to the penalty area, forcing Bayer back. But it's this part of his game that I think he needs to get his head up. We can see Casemiro just bottom of his shot, making a move to get into the penalty area, into space. What's Rashford going to do here? He's going to cut in and shoot, and that is the wrong decision. I think one of the big things when you're looking at Casemiro, the support plays great. Rashford just needs to get his head up in this situation, which would be 2-0 for Man United. From this position, he could either look to feet for Casemiro or slide the ball through the 2 defenders, and it's a simple tap-in. Casemiro will score more goals with Amrabat in the team. And long-term for Manchester United, box-to-box Casemiro, getting into the penalty area and finishing off moves is something that's going to happen. We've spoke about Casemiro, we spoke about Bruno Fernandes today, but before we go, we've got to talk about Hannibal Mejbri's performance against Burnley. For me, he was absolutely fantastic in possession in a defensive sense. I think one of the big things when you're a young player breaking into a first team, you want to try the spectacular. You want to beat a man, you want to dribble players, you want to play through balls at all times. But the reason why I want to highlight Mejbri's performance is his ability to retain possession and also defensively work very, very hard. 2 qualities that you wouldn't necessarily assign to Hannibal Mejbri, but I think his loan spell at Birmingham City's kind of turned him into a man in a sense. He's filled out of his body, he's become defensively responsible, and in possession very, very good. What I like about his play is he's very, very simple in terms of receiving into feet. He's got the vision. We saw that brilliant outside of the boot pass to Rashford into the channel. We know that he's got that in his locker, but what I liked about his performance against Burnley, he made the right decision at the right time. Simple bits of play, simple little layoffs, when Man United have broken Burnley's lines, just simple layoffs to link the attack and then make the forward runs. It's almost that age is a really important part of football, understanding when you play the through ball, understanding when you play the simple pass, that I really like about Hannibal Mejbri. So let's take a look at a few of those moments against Burnley. So pick the play up on 79 minutes, Mejbri sitting in a defensive position in United's 4-4-1-1. United defended well against Burnley. I think they were compact, they were aggressive. They also tracked the opposition's movement into the defensive line. Frequently we saw Scott McTominay and Casemiro dropping into that defensive line to just, look for the forward motion of the Burnley players. But taking this as an instant, what I really like about this Hannibal Mejbri is his ability to think simple. Think simple, think fast on the counter-attack and open up a great moment. So in terms of this move, Burnley are on the attack. Connor Roberts cuts in and looks for the pass into the feet of Jay Rodriguez. Johnny Evans, who was absolutely superb, not only that moment where he found Bruno Fernandes for the winner, but defensively very, very good, uses experience, but also brilliant on the ball. And this is an example of that. So the ball's played into Jay Rodriguez. Johnny Evans jumps out, makes the interception, instantly looks for the feet of Rashford to Mejbri. Why this is so important as we see it in the next kind of shot. The ball's into Marcus Rashford's feet, instant to Hannibal Mejbri. Mejbri has got pressure on his back. In terms of what you see sometimes with Manchester United attacking midfielders or wingers in these moments is to beat that man. It's to try and slip the pressure, drive through, carry through. And sometimes you have to use the simple option. That's what Mejbri does right now. Simple little layoff to Johnny Evans. What this means is you've taken the last Burnley midfielder out of the game and we can see Manchester United with Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford joining the attack. You're basically creating a 3v2 situation by using the up-back-through methodology. I think with Johnny Evans, for me, he's got to start to the end of the season. I think Johnny Evans and Lisandro Martinez are Manchester United's two best ball-playing defenders. And that's what United need to do right now. I mentioned many times United need to sign a new centre-back in the summer. That didn't happen. Johnny Evans was signed on a free transfer. Again, his performance against Burnley, for me, merits him starting a few games, getting a run of games. If he can stay fit, his passing is superb. But anyway, back to Mejbri. Simple layoff. Johnny Evans plays forward, and now we can see the situation evolving. Rashford's made a forward motion. Fernandes has made that move. Mejbri's joining the attack, and so is Scott McTominay. From playing simple layoff to then play forward again through Johnny Evans, United have basically created a 5-on-4 situation with two great options into the channels on the back line. If Højlund plays the right pass to Bruno Fernandes and doesn't look for the harder pass to Marcus Rashford, United are in. But great simple play from Mejbri. And that wasn't the only time that he did that in the game. So let's take a look at another great decision from Hannibal Mejbri. Manchester United have just had a long throw. Diogo Dalot's lobbed it into the box. Scott McTominay's held it up. And Mejbri's got on the loose ball. So we've got some options here for Mejbri. Number one, he could take a shot on goal. Number two, he could go on the dribble, cut inside, then shoot. Or number three, he could carry out to the byline and clip a ball to the back post. These are all quite individualistic moves. The other option, potentially, you could look to slip in the fullback. Which option do you think Hannibal Mejbri takes? Get into the comments below right now. Which option? Number one, the shot. Number two, the dribble and shot. Or number three, hitting the byline and crossing. Or number four, the simple pass. What I like about this is he selects that fourth option. Simple, plays the ball to Diogo Dalot in a wide area. Great ball into the box for Diogo Dalot, and Højlund should be putting the ball in the back of the net. But sometimes simplicity is bliss, and that is why I loved Hannibal Mejbri's performance. A lot of decisions he made were very, very simple ones, but completely the correct decision, creating a goal-scoring opportunity for Manchester United with a second assist pass. But let's finish things off talking about his defensive work rate, something that is required in modern football. Your pressing, your defensive unit isn't going to work if players don't contribute. Mejbri massively contributed against Burnley. Here's a first instance of him defending the left flank, doubling up on the opposition's winger. In this situation, Reguilon is 1v1, and it's a difficult situation to deal with. You want to show the opponent inside into an area where United have got more bodies. He does that, but Hannibal Mejbri is very, very aware. So the ball breaks inside, good carry on the inside. Mejbri joins the defensive duel. From this position, it's great, really responsible attacking midfield play, getting his body in, making a great challenge, and McTominay recovering the ball. Really good play from Hannibal Mejbri. But I think not only does Mejbri have that determination to get back and the tackling technique, he's also got great pace. And that's a big, big thing in terms of him getting back and recovering. He's just been in an attacking move. He's just recovering back into the defensive structure. Burnley have shifted the ball from Brownhill inside to Cullen. Cullen's a really good player in possession, a very good passer of the football. The distance between him and Mejbri right now is absolutely massive. But the way that Mejbri closes the ball down on the first touch and then makes an absolutely fantastic tackle for United to win the ball back again through Scott McTominay. It's brilliant. It's really good defensive play. The way that he closes the distance, gets in, makes a challenge absolutely fantastic. We've got one final example, similar situation. At this point, Hannibal Mejbri is not in shot, but he's going to jump in here. He's going to close the space down as the attacker looks to open up his body. Brilliant challenge. and again, ball breaking to Scott McTominay. That defensive work rate was absolutely sensational against Burnley, and a real reason why he's probably got to stay in the team is that ability to not only, link the play, to keep it simple, to move it to teammates at the right time, but also that defensive work rate, absolutely outstanding. In the game, Hannibal Mejbri completed 92% of his passes, creating 2 chances in the game, won 2 out of his 3 tackles, but great defensive work rate. He also covered more ground than any other Manchester United player, but also his expected threat values were absolutely fantastic. First for Manchester United in the game in open play at 0.22. He was using the ball really, really well, as we previously showed, and for me has a massive future at Manchester United. But anyway, guys, get in the comments below. Do you think Amrabat will unlock Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro? And how impressed were you with Hannibal Mejbri's first Premier League start under Erik ten Hag? I've been Statman Dave. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?